Their first possession to begin the game. Mizzou already 4 first downs on this drive. 2 have come via the run, 2 via the pass. And the 2nd and 4 coming up from inside the 10.
Yeah, I know a lot of Mizzou fans we talked to were anxious to see what Derek Dooley's offense would look like, all the changes he'd make. Simply keeping a close eye on today. So far, a lot of similarities. I've seen a few changes in the run game so far. I think this is going to be a very explosive offense this season.
Block puts it in the belly of Crockett, straight ahead, breaks a tackle, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Mizzou. Had a couple of rushing touchdowns last year before the shoulder injury, and he picks up his first on the first drive of the season for Mizzou.
Yeah, we're already seeing the impact of Derek Dooley right here already. Another pro-style run, just a classic inside zone right here to Demarie Crockett. A great job of sticking his foot in the ground. But a better job by that big offensive line of just paving the way for an easy touchdown to open the game.
Tucker McCann, who was 51 of 53 on point afters a year ago, knocks that through. And the Tigers on their first possession march down the field in the touchdown run for Demarie Crockett.
There's Demarie Crockett. He's back from injury, taking the handoff, giving the Tigers an early lead, 7-0 Missouri. It's a postseason All-SEC list, a guy who I think had a great year last year but could even possibly make another big step forward this year. He's kind of the leader of this defense. I think probably the best player outside of Terry Beckner. Big year for him this year.
3rd down and 13 for the Skyhawks. The sophomore quarterback, Dresser Wynn.
This is not the kind of situation you want for the Skyhawks. 3rd and long. Those pass rushers can pin their ears back.
Wynn has time to throw. It's caught at the 28 by Jalen Moore, wrapped up there, and he's a good 4 yards short of the first down. Line to gain was the 35, and it'll be 4th down.
Yeah, nice job by Mizzou. Barry Odom and his defensive coordinator Ryan Walters right there. They showed some blitz, backed off, dropped 8 guys, made a nice tackle to set up a 4th down. Another good showing. So far, this game has gone just as scripted right now for the Mizzou Tigers.
Mizzou team that won their opener last year, a shootout against Missouri State, then lost 5 in a row. Were 1-5, then won 6 straight to finish the regular season before falling to Texas in the Texas Bowl.
Yeah, talk about a tale of 2 halves of the season right there. Just got on a winning streak there late in the season. Something to talk about, though, was that the schedule set up very favorably for them to get on that win streak, but really played well down the stretch.
Number 49, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That'll cost UT Martin another 5 yards. Yeah, the narrative has really changed around Mizzou football thanks to the way the season ended. It was not good at the midpoint of the year last year.
There's no doubt. I mean, there were people that were calling for Barry Odom's job, and rightfully so. I mean, 1-5, a terrible start to the season. Cannot afford to get off to that kind of start again this year if they want to accomplish the things they're talking about accomplishing.
Just getting the punt away, Cox shakes it out of bounds. It goes out near midfield. We'll see where they mark it. But when we come back, possession number 2 for Locke and the Tigers. Only averaged 18 points per game. And look at the turnover margin.
Yeah, that was really the story of last season. And Barry Odom really talked about it, that if they want to accomplish the things they want to do this year, they're going to have to win some games against quality opponents. You know, they kind of beat up on some bad teams late in their schedule and caught some teams at the right time. This team this year is poised to have some big plays.
So after Locke's first incompletion, he gives it to Roundtree, and he's bumped down right near the marker as he goes for 10 yards and a Mizzou first down.
And talking to Jason Simpson, this is the coach for UT Martin. This is probably his greatest fear, is that the power of this Missouri offensive line would just be too much for his guys to handle. So far, that's been the case. They really run the ball extremely effectively early in this game.
Locke pulls it out of the belly of Roundtree, has plenty of time, takes a shot to the end zone, has his man wide open, Emmanuel Hall. Touchdown, Mizzou.
34 yards.
It's a great junior year last year for Hall, who was 2nd on the team in yardage, pass catching, and had 8 TDs, and he gets his first of the year.
Yeah, Emmanuel Hall, he's kind of the speedster for this team. A great drive by Drew Locke, finding his second read, giving that post time to run past the safety, and And Emmanuel Hall just uses his speed to kind of split those safeties. A great throw and catch by Drew Lock right there. And that's, you see it, there's a look at that arm talent right there. That's the arm talent all the scouts talk about. Kind of just flinging it out there and throwing it on a rope 40 yards for a big touchdown.
And after an SEC record 44 TD passes last year, there is number 1 for Drew Lock in 2018.
I think heroic deeds were all conceived in the open air. I think whatever I shall meet on the road, I shall like. And whoever beholds me shall like me. I think whoever I see must be happy.
Are you a college football fan? Come check this out. Show me college football. It's never been easier to watch ESPN3 games right here on Xfinity X1.
Introducing ESPN3 on Xfinity X1.
Welcome back. You're watching the SEC Network. The Missouri Tigers leading 14-0. And while they are rolling right now, they are dealing with some adversity off the field. While you see the fans are working, the mister is not. The hose tubes, they have been working on them from the start of this game. So the guys are staying hot. Mark Barrett, it's about 91 degrees outside when they're playing on turf. The turf makes it 10 to 15 degrees hotter. So not an ideal day to have those misters not working.
Yikes. I tell you, being a former big guy, you appreciate those misters down there. Kind of get a nice little breeze on your back. That's a tough one right there. And you said it, Alex. It's a warm one. It's a little warm up here in our booth, too, Mark.
And for the record, you're not a former big guy. You're still a big guy, actually.
Well, thank you. That's a good point.
Hey, coming up 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central here on the SEC Network. College football continues as Charleston Southern faces Florida in the SEC Saturday night matchup. And on the SEC Network alternate channel, it's Middle Tennessee at Vandy. To find the SEC Network alternate channel in your area, go to secnetwork.com/channel. All that also streams live on the ESPN app.
Anybody who saw the sweat patterns right now on my dress shirt would know I'm not a former big guy, unfortunately.
Spencer Wynn rolling out. Slings it underneath near the sideline. Incomplete for Jalen Moore up at the 33. The Tigers leading 14-0. The Drew Lock 34-yard touchdown pass to Hall. Mizzou had a short field to work with after just an 18-yard punt. And it's a Skyhawks team we mentioned last year played at Ole Miss. It played really well, especially in the first half. They led 16-7 down at Oxford in the second quarter. They trailed 17-16 at the half. They wound up losing 45-23. Wynn pulls it down. He's now going to run left with it and gets a block on the edge from Williams. He's pushed out of bounds about the 35.
And let's not forget what happened to this Missouri team in Game 1 of last season. I talked to the coaches about that. They played Missouri State last year. The defense gave up 492 yards and 43 points in Week 1 last year. And the coaches told us that Therese Hall made the entire defense go in and watch that film of Week 1 last year. So these guys were not going to be unprepared in Week 1 this season.
Wynn keeps it on third down and short. Does he have enough? Therese Hall and Cale Garrett, linebackers, came up to meet him in the hole.
One of my pet peeves in life, Mark, is gun runs on third and short. I don't understand why you want to lose 5 yards to start off with. You're trying to pick up 6 inches, but worked out right there for the Skyhawks.
And they do get the first down, their first down of the game. Wynn looking to throw on first down. Looks back far side and underthrows. Well, they're going to say Galloway caught that. Nice catch, but there is a flag down.
It was a nifty play design right there by the Skyhawks. Unfortunately, they're going to have some big men that I think were downfield a little too soon, but I really like that play design, a little
An eligible
throwback.
player downfield, number 7, is doing the legal forward pass play, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Said that was on Galloway. From where he was lined up in the formation.
Well, that could be the case, but they had a lot of big guys down there, too, that were
Yeah, I think maybe you're looking at 7-0. The left guard, James Walker. More likely there was more than 3 yards downfield.
Well, and in college, you can be downfield as long as the ball is caught behind the line of scrimmage. So maybe that's why they were signaling Galloway, because he was past the line of scrimmage when he caught the football. It's a good play design, unfortunately. Got to play by the rules.
Second penalty against the Skyhawks today. Third penalty make that, and Wynn's throw is caught by Jalen Moore. He's up to the 39-yard line, about 6 yards shy of the first down.
Talking to Barry Odom, he expected some wrinkles like that. He said Jason Simpson, a guy he's faced off against before, he's kind of famous for throwing a few wrinkles in each game, different formations, some trick plays. You know, and when you're in a situation like the Skyhawks are today, you really have nothing to lose. Why not let the guys have some fun and throw in some exciting plays like a quarterback?
Second down at 6. Wynn pulls it down. Looked like he wanted to run. Now he's just going to throw it out of bounds. Bring up third down at 6. Now, you mentioned the relationship between Odom and Coach Simpson. Barry Odom's first season as the Memphis defensive coordinator, the first game was against UTM. And UTM beat Memphis on a last-second field goal. That's the only FBS team they have beaten. They are 1-24 against the FBS. They beat Memphis 20-17 back in 2012 on the opening game that year.
And I guarantee you Barry Odom has not forgotten about that. We asked him about it, and he could recount every play of exactly what happened. He was still frustrated about losing that game, but the ending of that story is Justin Fuente and Barry Odom ended up doing a fantastic job of coming in and turning around that Memphis program. But that was the first game of the turnaround, and it did not go well.
Third and 6, quarterback keeper. And Walter Palmore, the defensive tackle, got enough of a hand on Wynn to slow him down and bring him down. Let's take you back to 2012. The only win for UT Martin against an FBS team, September 1st, 2012. You're talking exactly to the day 6 years ago.
There you go. That was a muff punt, actually. Memphis muffed a punt. About 4 seconds to go and allowed UT Martin to kick a game-winning field goal.
There's a lot of rain in that game. They had a lightning delay.
Yep.
I'm sure Skyhawk fans still remember that night fondly, that win over Memphis.
There's no doubt. Only 2 hours down the road. Know that as a fellow Memphian.
Joseph Foley, an Australian with the punt. He's an interesting story in himself. Just joined the UTM team this past week. And his first punt as a collegian, he is, get this, 34 years old from Australia. And he joined the team on Monday. Married guy with a couple of kids, and he'd been working construction in Australia. And he has his chance to punt in college football at 34.
I don't want to rain on Joseph Foley's parade right there, but
please don't.
I think the lights might have been a little too bright for him right there. Came all the way from Australia. His first punt ever was 15 yards, but hey, he'll get better. There's a lot of Australian punters, making their way over these days. Kind of one that was pretty famous in the Southeastern Conference was Brad Wing over there at LSU, but there's a bunch of punters now. There's kind of a pipeline over there coming from Australia.
Good starting field position again for the Tigers at their own 45-yard line. Lock hands off. Roundtree eludes one tackle. A flag flies in, though, as he crossed midfield to the 48 of UTM.
Yeah, there's a flag, though. Looks like they're going to get a hold on the pulling guard for Missouri right there.
Offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, I almost always disagree with holding calls, but they might have gotten this one right, unfortunately. Kind of dragged it around. Just a simple power play right here. Kind of misses the guy in the hole. Can't drag that jersey right there. Anytime they see that arm extended, there's a misnomer in football. You can hold as much as you want, but as soon as those arms get outside the framework of the body and they see that arm extended and you're trying to restrict a guy from where he wants to go, that's an easy call for the referee, unfortunately.
And that was on number 75, Trevor Wallace-Sims, who won the starting job in fall camp last year at right guard, back at that spot for a veteran offensive line. Very old. The penalty makes it first down at 20 with just over 4 minutes to play in this first quarter. Run straight ahead for Roundtree, where he's met by Garrett Wall. Gain of 6.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk around here about this offensive line. I really like these guys. There's not necessarily a superstar on this line. Probably the best player is the right tackle, Paul Adams. But just 5 guys who really play together well, and they're playing kind of with a chip on their shoulder this year.
Sent that screen to Johnson, who breaks a tackle, cuts to the outside, and then Turf might have made the tackle there on him. He was hoping for more. He's going to come out a little gassed right now. A gain of 9.
Yeah, I talked. Speaking of the offensive line, I talked to some of these guys early in the week, and they were a little frustrated that they didn't have anybody on any of the all SEC teams, not one player from there. When you see those numbers, only 13 sacks allowed all season, fewest in the SEC, and 2.9 tackles for loss, actually a record since they've been keeping tackle for loss stats, the fewest tackle for losses in the entire season this Missouri offensive line allowed. So what that tells me is these guys know their assignments. Very assignment play.
Looking at the per-game numbers from last year. Locke throws, and it's complete. Albert Okuebunam, 7-yard gain. Andrew Horton-Martindale, the quarterback, up to make the tackle.
We're talking in the open about Locke's playmaking ability when things break down. That's exactly what we saw right here. UT Martin brings an all-out blitz right up the middle. He's able to roll out, find Okuebunam for a first down.
Up at the 43-yard line of UTM, handed off. Roundtree averts one tackle, a second, and then pulled down at the 35. Picks up 8 on first down.
Speaking of Locke, Mark, coaches talk a lot about it. It's hard to teach that playmaking ability, and Derek Dooley talked to us about you don't want to change Locke, but you want to hold him back so he doesn't turn the ball over quite as much, but you never want him to lose that playmaking ability that he has that makes him so successful.
Roundtree with the carry. Just needed a couple, and was there, but we'll bring up a third down and 1. Well, we talked with Barry Odom yesterday about Josh Heupel's time here, the couple of years. He was very complimentary, loved what Josh did with the offense. I think he likes the fact Derek Dooley's been in the NFL the last 5 years. It's going to kind of bring some of that pro style to this offense. Here's the first down run.
I totally agree. I think talking to everybody, one of the themes in those meetings was that they could care less about the numbers this year. The only number they were concerned about was the number of wins they had at the end of the season. They were, like you said, very appreciative of Josh Heupel, the job he did. I think last year they felt like they really didn't have the personnel, the players, to really keep up in the SEC. They kind of had some dry years there recruiting-wise. I think now it's a different story this year. They feel like they have some meat up front. They'll be able to contend in the SEC.
First collegiate carry for Tyler Beatty. He's inside the 25, hit by Sherrod Pittman, and it's a gain of 8 for the 5'9", 190 freshman out of Briarcrest Christian High School in Memphis.
That was actually my rival in high school growing up. I was right across town, faced off against those guys every year. The same high school that was famously depicted as Michael Moore's high school on the blind side.
Off the hands of Hall. A short time ago, you saw Jonathan Johnson point at his helmet to come out of the game. It looks like he's really cramping up on the Mizzou sideline on this extremely hot day. We hope that's just the cramps. That's kind of what it appears to be from here.
Well, you see cramps a lot of times late in the game, but you don't often see cramps in the first quarter. I guess that's what happens when those misters get down. You got guys cramping already in the first quarter. We didn't realize how much we were relying on these things.
Third down and 2. They bring Roundtree back in, and Locke looking to throw on third and short. Goes across the field and connects with Dominic Jacinto. There's another true freshman, Jacinto, with his first collegiate catch.
Yeah, Julie talked to us this week. He said he got 3 experienced starters, but past that, he's got 3 freshmen backing up all 3 starting wide receiver spots. Jacinto's one of those guys. Excited about this guy. They're also excited about Jalen Knox, another freshman who will see significant time this year.
Locke timing towards the end zone and incomplete for Nate Brown, which brings up the topic of the new redshirt rule, which allows teams to play players for up to 4 games and still redshirt them.
I really like this rule. I think it'll come in handy in a lot of different cases. Obviously, you'll be able to see early in the year what you got in a certain player. But another thing that people don't think about is, let's say a guy gets hurt early in fall camp and maybe has an opportunity to come back and play in some of those last few games. Whereas earlier, his red shirt would be burned, but now he'll be able to do that as long as he doesn't play 4 games. So I think it's a good rule. Haven't talked to a coach yet who's not in favor of this rule.
This is Roundtree off left tackle inside the 10, down near the 7-yard line. Gained 7. The helmet came off Roundtree, so he's going to have to come out.
So far, I've been really impressed by this offensive line and both of these backs we've seen today, Roundtree and Crockett. Doing a nice job of moving these guys off the football with simple, direct runs right at the UT Martin defense, and they're really getting a lot of movement up front. I'm not seeing contact on the runner until 3 or 4 yards downfield, which if you ask a running back what he wants, that's what he wants. He wants a clean hole, able to get entry, able to get some speed up moving, and he'll do the rest. So so far the Missouri offensive line is doing their job.
Drew Lock asked for the timeout. Tigers have converted all 4 third-down tries so far, but on a 3rd and 3 from the 7 coming up, the Tigers will use their first timeout. Drew Lock does have a touchdown pass so far in this game. That came on their second drive to Hall, and here's his day so far.
Yeah, I've been really impressed so far with the touch. You know, we talked about getting his completion percentage up in the open. So far, they've gotten started with some nice, easy throws. I've loved the balance I saw last year in Josh Heupel's offense. We saw a bunch of shots, a bunch of downfield shots, you know, sometimes 10 or 12 a game. And we're still mixing in some shots, but I'm seeing some nice intermediate to short throws. As we see already, is 8 for 11. That his accuracy numbers already improving here in the open. I really like what I've seen from Drew Lock today. He's in store for a monster season.
Now, that's what he did in the opener last year against Missouri State with the Mizzou single-game record 7 touchdown passes. And like we've been alluding to really here from the get-go, Barrett, his touchdown numbers could be down this year, yet him have a much better year.
No doubt. You know, I think that's what everyone you talk to, they want to see wins. They could care less about the numbers. Drew Lock, he's on board for that, absolutely.
Lock towards the end zone. Albert, the grab. Jarred loose at the last moment.
They dropped it, but unfortunately for the Skyhawks, fortunately for Missouri, they're going to get UT Martin offside right here. Give him a free first down. Cannot do that for UT Martin.
Defense, number 35. Half the distance to the goal.
Got that on linebacker, Kevin Prather.
First down.
First down by penalty, and as you see Alberto coming down, just lost it as he got to the ground.
Nice job of the defender ripping the ball out right there. But Alberto, we talked about, had 11 touchdowns last year, is an absolute weapon in the red area. We'll see a lot of touchdowns out of him. Drew Lock will be looking his way very often. I mean, you see this guy walking down the hallway. He is an absolute athletic freak.
Final seconds of this first quarter, and on 1st and goal for Hall, but nice defense there, batted away by Devontae Mara. Well, I say nice defense, and as I do, the flag does come out from the side judge.
I thought he might get away with it right there, but I think he got him with that backhand. You know, a lot of times the referees look at that backhand.
Pass interference. Defense, number 2. The ball is placed at the 2-yard line, automatic first down.
Devontae Mara, who's in his first year with UTMA, transfer from Butler Community College.
See, there's that left hand wrapped around. He did a good job with the right hand reaching around and swatting, but you can't grab that left hand.
Roundtree trying to fight his way in, fell down just short of the goal line. I think that was James Gillian, linebacker, had the most contact on him to keep him from getting into the end zone. And that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter. But the Tigers found the end zone a couple of times in that first quarter. Thanks Columbia, the Tigers leading 14-0. And we'll begin this second quarter with a 2nd and goal from the 1. And we saw Jonathan Johnson earlier apparently trying to fight off some cramps. Get rehydrated.
I guarantee you, knowing a football locker room like I do, that the other guys in the team will be having a little fun with Jonathan Johnson on Monday about cramping up in the first quarter. That's got to hydrate. Looked like he went to the locker room, probably going to get an IV there, trying to get push some fluids in the system. I know I've had a few IVs at halftime, but I haven't ever had a case where I cramped in the first quarter. It's hot out there, though.
It is steamy, over 100 degrees on that artificial turf here at Memorial Stadium.
That's another good thing about this first game. You know, it's hard to simulate those game reps.
Roundtree bounces into the end zone, touchdown Mizzou on the first play for quarter number 2, 20-0 Tigers.
Yeah, nice way to start the second quarter right there for Missouri. Touchdown right there for Roundtree. These are valuable reps right here. You know, coaches love the fact that they're getting some nice goal line reps. Another situation that's extremely hard to simulate in practice. You know, there's a lot of bodies down there. You always want to take care of your guys a little bit. But valuable reps for later in the season when you're getting some goal line repetitions like that. So far, I'm extremely impressed with the execution of Missouri. That's what you're looking for in a first game, is how are they executing so far. Extremely sharp. New offensive coordinator, been very sharp on both sides of the football.
Let's check in with the studio. Darian Oka. by Coach Pruitt. Game 1 as a head coach at Knoxville. And go for it on 4th down. Look at the preseason AP top 10 with Bama up top. Keep a close eye on that Washington-Auburn game.
Yeah, that's the game that probably interested me the most of all the games today, was that Auburn-Washington game. Obviously, the top 10 matchup, but I really wasn't sure exactly what to expect from Auburn. You know, I really like Jared Stidham this year. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. But yeah, they lost Kerryon Johnson, lost a lot of guys up front in the offense and some defensive playmakers. But so far, Auburn looking good down there in Atlanta.
Returnable by Galloway to the 15. Backs up, looking for some room. He'll be tackled at the 18. By the way, I failed to mention Penn State's trailing App State right now, 10-7. Remember what App State did to Michigan?
I do.
Back in 2007. Hey, you can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com. And hey, all you UTM fans, you can find all but one of the UTM games this year beginning next week on ESPN Plus. The one that's not is on ESPN 3, which is the Eastern Illinois game. So up on ESPN Plus. Starting field position for the Skyhawks this time is at their own 18-yard line. Jamie Bowe in the game as the back, and Dresser Wynn hands it to Bowe. Jamie Bowe is a guy who tore his Achilles in fall camp last year. They medical redshirted him. He, according to Coach Simpson, was a huge loss for them a year ago.
Yeah, another situation, Jason Simpson also feels like he has two really good backs. And keep in mind, this is a school that they're attempting to compete this year at the FCS level. They feel like they have a team that's good enough to make the playoffs and possibly make some noise in that FCS tournament.
Ball gets jarred loose. Cam Hilton comes away with it for the Tigers. He's tackled at the 32-yard line. Well, the catch was made by Devontae Howard, and he came towards the sideline, and a hit put on by Terry Petrie knocked it loose, and there was Cam Hilton to grab it.
Yeah, a huge point of emphasis for Ryan Walters and the defensive staff this year, creating more turnovers. You know, I'm not sure they did a whole lot to create that one, but they capitalized on the opportunity. A big part last year, very poor in turnover margin at -8. A big improvement so far. Have been very clean on offense, and here forcing a turnover earlier. Omar, I don't know about you, but I was extremely impressed with Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator, a very young guy, 32 years old, the defensive coordinator for Missouri. He's a guy that's going places. He sat down with us and started talking football, and this guy is a very impressive young coach in this game.
Ryan Walters, his 4th year on the Missouri staff. He is the defensive coordinator after being the co-DC last year. Alex has more on the defensive side. AC?
Well, defensive coordinator Ryan Walters says one of the biggest things is that the culture had changed. Previously, he saw, or from last year's team, there was just a lot of selfishness, that I, me mentality. But this year, it was all about the team first. The coaching staff is just extremely close, and they feel that that translated to the players. And you can see that energy. You can feel it down here, guys.
Yeah, when we talked to him yesterday, you know, he was very happy that the dust has kind of settled, so to speak. A tumultuous year last year for the defense. Luck throws out to the tight end, Kendall Blanton. He's tackled at the 33. Remember last year, he was the co-DC with DeMonte Cross. And DeMonte, the DC, was fired after week 2, which was the South Carolina game. And then Ryan got thrown into the fire. And you got to keep in mind that Barry Odom is a defensive guy. And we even talked to Coach Odom, hey, is it hard to kind of keep your fingerprints off the defense? And he said, yes, it is. But I got a great guy in Ryan Walters.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. I got the impression that Odom kind of had to have a moment where he said, all right, I'm going to trust you with this, Ryan Walters, and I'm going to give you a shot to make this. And I feel like this is Ryan Walters' defense, not Barry Odom's.
Lots of time for Drew Lock to the end zone, and the adjustment made. Flag comes out, but the catch by Emmanuel Hall, touchdown Mizzou. Hall made a nice adjustment on that, coming back to the ball near the goal line. And the defender banged into him, which I believe is what brought out the flag. That being the defender, Antonio Clifton.
The player's a touchdown.
Yeah, so far it's pretty obvious early in this game who Drew Lock's go-to guy is going to be this year, and that's Emmanuel Hall. Obviously, their leading returning receiver with 817 yards last year, but a great job right there, just adjusting his body, able to come back. Not the best throw by Drew Lock, maybe a little behind him, probably could have put it on his numbers, but a great body adjustment, making this guy, Drew Lock, look good.
31-yard touchdown reception by Emmanuel Hall, and the Tigers here early in the second quarter have a 28-0 lead.
And we talked about it. Drew Lock surveying the field, goes to his third option, and a great body adjustment on a back shoulder throw. Tigers are up early and looking extremely sharp early in this game.
10-13 with a couple of touchdown passes. Moving the touchdown pass moments ago for 31 yards to Emmanuel Hall. There is Galloway, Peyton Logan back deep for the Skyhawks, and this will not be returnable. Let's take a look at my partner's top quarterbacks in the SEC.
I think the SEC this year is as deep as quarterback as they have been in a long time. You see, I have Jarrett Stidham there at the top of my list. I think he's going to have a monster this year for Auburn. But I have Drew Lock coming in at number 2, and frankly, what I'm seeing today from Drew Lock, he could easily move into that number 1 spot. I think Tua Tagovailoa, I know he's had very limited experience, but I think he's an extremely talented guy who will ultimately get the nod. Obviously, we know about Jake Fromm, Nick Fitzgerald, another dual-threat guy. Not even mention guys like Jake Bentley and Jordan Teamu, who had outstanding. Teamu looked really good this morning. The SEC is absolutely loaded at quarterback this season, but this guy right here, Drew Lock, could be the class of this league with the way he's playing early in this football game. He looks extremely comfortable in this offense. There was worries about how communication would go. Obviously, having a new offensive coordinator for his senior year, I'm impressed with what I've seen so far.
Well, they needed 104 yards passing coming in to pass Brad Smith for second all-time in Mizzou history, and he has eclipsed that. He's over 130 yards passing so far today. Timeout on the field with just a few minutes gone here in the second quarter. On Monday, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, Thinking Out Loud. It's back for another season. Greg McElroy and Marcus Spears talk football and want your participation via social media throughout the show. You can also watch it live on the ESPN app. Yeah, I don't want these guys to hear that, but actually it's a really good show. I enjoy watching the fellas.
I hope they don't hear that. I had 3 years, Mark, of having to listen to Greg McElroy think out loud in my direction a little too often. So
there's Dresser Witt on the pitch. The option to Terry Williams. He's hit hard late out of bounds by Christian Holmes, the cornerback. They're going to tack on the personal foul. And we see a little option look from UTM, just trying to find something they could hang their hand on here offensively.
Got to find something. But Missouri talked about coming out and being a physical, imposing defense, but obviously it's not the way to do it, giving UT Martin a free 15 yards on that play right there. Got to be physical, but got to do it within the lines and between the whistles.
Well, first down. He's going to take it all the way out to the 45 thanks to the penalty.
First mistake we've seen this Missouri defense make all day. Been extremely sound technically and fundamentally.
Second penalty on the Tigers. The pass is caught for a first down at the Mizzou 42 by Terry Williams. Terry Williams, we mentioned earlier, JUCO transfer. Great numbers in Itawamba Community College.
If you're a Martin fan, that's what you see a lot of right there, kind of this RPO game, run pass option.
By Ben Phillips, and had he not stepped out of bounds right near the sideline, he might have found the end zone there.
Yeah, Terry Petrie kind of took a risk right there and thought he might have one going the other direction. Almost cost his team. If you're going to do that, if you're a defensive back, coaches always say you better be right. You're going to jump in front of the ball. If you're wrong, it cost your team 6 points.
Pass down to Terry Williams, gets a block on the edge, and then hit out of bounds at the 27 by Khalil Oliver. But right now, UTM's got their best offensive flow going so far today.
They do. Nice to see, I know, for Mizzou fans, Khalil Oliver making a play. A guy who transferred out from Oregon. Who a lot of people think will have a big impact early. See, he's getting some run in the nickel and dime packages so far today.
Win under pressure, now takes off. And is dropped at the 25 by Kobe Whiteside.
When you run a tempo offense, so much about a tempo offense is getting the first down. One thing you'll notice is oftentimes extremely difficult to get that first down, but once you get it, it's a little easier to get rolling. UT Martin, so you got a few first downs here, now playing with a little more confidence. Really same goes for Missouri, though. Getting that first down. And one thing that Barry Odom talked about is there were far too many 3-and-outs last year that left the defense in a tough situation where they didn't really have much time to rest, something they want to correct this season.
3rd and a long 2 for the Skyhawks, and they want a timeout. Still 11 minutes to play here in the first half. Skyhawks timeout, and we'll step aside in Columbia.
Are you a college football fan? Come check this out. Show me college football. It's never been easier to watch ESPN3 games right here on Xfinity X1.
Introducing ESPN3 on Xfinity X1.
One cup of lemonade. Time to pack up, kids.
NFL Sunday Ticket. Get every live game every Sunday at no extra charge when you switch to DirecTV. More for your thing. That's our thing.
Backyard camping. This is some good team bonding. We don't need a football stadium to bond. Where's Lisa?
Definitely not watching football.
She's watching football.
Hey, guys.
Lisa, how are you watching football?
PlayStation View. I can watch live football on my devices, even my phone, without a PlayStation console.
We should camp more often. Nature is amazing.
When your TD service gets better, camping gets better.
PlayStation.
I don't care where we go. Just take me with you.
There are roadside attractions, and then there's our world-famous on-road attraction, the 2019 GLC, Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Here's a peek at our SEC headlines. Bama #1 again, 3rd straight year for them to be the preseason favorite. How about the big matchups in week 1? Really keeping an eye on that Washington-Auburn matchup. And Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher's debut. A lot of good offense there, 59-7 for the Aggies.
Yeah, Texas A&M was impressive, but how about Ole Miss? I mean, a really nice showing this morning from Georgetown. A big Power 5 win. Texas Tech, that's a quality win on their schedule.
Tennessee Martin's burned all 3 of their timeouts now here in the first half. A handoff to Galloway. He's stuffed in the backfield by Jordan Elliott, and a loss of 2. It's going to bring up 4th down. First 4 possessions for UTM, only 37 yards of total offense and 1 first drive for 1 first down. But this drive had been moving until that right there. They had 50 yards and 3 first down. And they're going to go for it on 4th and 3 from the Mizzou 27. Dresser Wynn steps up, rolling out right side, fires and finds a man inside the 10. That is a completion to Jamie Bowe And it's first and goal UTM.
Gotta love it. Jason Simpson, nothing to lose. A little riverboat gambling right here, 4th and 3. Your team's down 28. You're an FCS team. Nice job right there by Dresser Wynn making a play, getting the ball out to one of his playmakers.
Driving towards the end zone, and he is, no signal yet, Jamie Bowe. Apparently just short.
Marking just short. Might have had that knee down. It's going to be, I wonder if they'll take another look at this. It was extremely close. He did end up in the end zone. Not sure if that knee was down or not. Regardless, a great drive so far by UT Martin as they're marching down the field. A big 4th down conversion. Good chance here to put some points on the board.
Second down and goal from inside the Mizzou 1. Wynn hands off and fighting, keeping the legs moving. Touchdown, UTM. So Jamie Bowe, they let him finish things off, and he picks up his first touchdown as a Skyhawk.
Yeah, no doubt he got in the end zone there. A nice job by Jamie Bowe. You said it, the coaches were excited to get this guy back.
First touchdown this year, I should say. He had 7 rushing touchdowns a couple of years ago after the year off last year for the injury.
Well, I'm sure it's a welcome sign to get back in the end zone. You know, when you're coming off an injury like that, you really can never know how healthy you are until you really get in there and get some game action. So I know it feels good for Jamie Bowe to get in there, shake off some game action.
Ryan Courtright with the point after, and UTM on the board. Still 9.5 minutes to play, first half.
Are you a college football fan? Come check this out. Show me college football. It's never been easier to watch ESPN3 games right here on Xfinity X1.
Introducing ESPN3 on Xfinity X1.
One cup of lemonade. Time to pack up, kids.
NFL Sunday Ticket. Get every live game every Sunday at no extra charge when you switch to DirecTV. More for your thing. That's our thing.
We're more than just $7.99 large 2-topping pizza delivered.
Hey, B, is this it?
Watch me. We're an end zone dance at your doorstep. No one out-pizzas the hype.
I'm Mike Lutzenkirchen. I'm the father of Philip Lutzenkirchen.
Lutzenkirchen was ejected from the car and died on the scene.
You can be the big football star and still lose your life if you don't make the right decisions.
Is Chris Starry. See you in just a bit at the half. 9:34 to play here in quarter number 2 from Mizzou after a 75-yard drive for UTM. A 1-yard touchdown run for Jamie Bowe has gotten them on the board. And the touchback will kick it out to the 25.
I got the sense here that maybe the lights were a little bright for UTM coming in here to a big SEC stadium. Obviously, had some experience last year, but a lot of new guys. But I was impressed what they did that drive. They really settled down and made some football plays. You see here, Missouri, their first drive's extremely effective and efficient on their four drives, all ending with touchdowns, with 2 on the ground and 2 from the air. An extremely balanced attack so far from the Missouri Tigers offense. And pretty much as advertised, what we heard from Derek Dooley and Barry Odom of what the offense would look like. Some of the old and some of the new. Been impressive so far.
True freshman Tyler Beatty comes into the backfield for the Tigers. And Locke puts it in the belly of Beatty, and the freshman advances it a couple of yards to the 27.
You get the sense they're pretty excited about this guy, Beatty. See Locke's numbers, they had a really solid game so far, 10 of 13. It's a number I'm going to keep an eye on all day. I want to see him completing more balls. He's done it today, 134 yards, already 2 touchdowns.
2 TD passes, both to Emmanuel Hall, 1 for 34 and 1 for 31 yards. And here's Drew Locke to throw. He's going deep down the far side. His man has a step, and that's gathered and caught by guess who? Emmanuel Hall. He's dragged down inside the 15 by Devontae Mara.
Well, we talked about Drew Locke's go-to guy this year. Obviously lost Jamon Moore last year to the NFL. But Emmanuel Hall is going to be running past a lot of people like he just did right there. You can't leave one-on-one coverage, especially in press coverage like that. Drew Locke's got far too good of an arm, and Emmanuel Hall has far too much speed. That's a connection we're going to see a lot this season.
62-yard pickup. First down Tigers at the 12.
Always love those long pass plays as an offensive lineman. Some free yards, you can jog down the field, reach your guy on.
Locke takes a shot, incomplete, off the hands of the tight end, Albert Okwuegbunam.
We got a lot of weapons on this offense. That's what I've seen so far. I mean, talking in the open about Alberto. Emmanuel Hall, you see his numbers there, 3 catches, 127 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Johnson, another guy who's a weapon. Unfortunately, he's cramping. Nate Brown's a guy who's solid in the backfield. We've already seen 3 running backs, Demaria Crockett, Larry Roundtree, and the freshman Tyler Beatty. So a bunch of weapons on this Missouri offense.
Here is the aforementioned Beatty straight ahead inside the 10, about to die at a 4-yard gain for the freshman from Memphis. You know, we were talking about the freshman rule, the new red shirt rule, and we mentioned that to Barry Odom. He said, you know what, the new rule's great, but Beatty, Knox, Jacinto, we're probably all going to play more than 4 games anyway for Mizzou this year.
Yeah, Beatty's a guy they're excited about. You get the sense they're getting him some play early in this game for one reason. That's because they wanted to help him.
Throw to the back of the end zone, incomplete for Nate Brown. That play had kind of a weird beginning to it. A nice coverage by Andrew Horton Martindale, a 5th-year senior for UTM.
Some confusion there on the snap count, but again, Drew Locke doing what he does best, making plays. Nice play there by the defender to break that up, or Drew Locke would have had his 3rd touchdown on the day.
Nate Brown looking for his first touchdown catch since 2015. And Tucker McCann, a 27-yard attempt off the left hash out of the hole to Corey Tony. And he knocks that through. Tucker, who was 15 of 17 last year in field goal attempts, hits his first attempt in 2018. And a 31-7 Mizzou lead with just over 8 minutes to play in the first half. Well, Mizzou scores that through the south end zone, and that new south end zone is going to feature a football operations area. As we take a look at the construction going on, there'll be staff locker rooms, a hydrotherapy area, recovery pools, locker rooms, team and position meeting rooms. It's going to be set and ready a year from now, a little less than a year from now. Let's take a look at some of the renderings of what it will look like on the inside.
Looking pretty nice in there for some new Tigers. See a nice new fancy weight room and team room, and they've got that hydrotherapy lounge. That's always nice after a tough day of practice. This is the big thing right now is recruits care about this stuff and wanting to see. You know, Missouri and Barry Odom have made it clear, you know, that they want to win here. They want to win big. So to do that, you gotta keep building and renovating, and they're doing just that with this $98 million renovation. It's going to look extremely nice when everything gets finished in that end zone.
This is going to be returnable from the 3 by Peyton Logan, sophomore out of Horn Lake, Mississippi, a late flag in as he's tackled up by the 30.
You know, I'm seeing more and more of that these days. That's a technical observation I've made, is that more and more people.
Personal foul, blocking below the waist on the return team, number 7, half the distance to the goal. First down.
More and more teams professionally and collegiately are kind of going to the model where they're putting their team room, a lot of their meeting rooms connected to the stadium, kind of a 2-in-1 function, making it a little more efficient. I think it's going to look extremely nice.
That gentleman on the top of the crane.
There you go. Best seat in the house.
He must have some next-level access to get up there to be available.
That is a hard hat area right there. That's nice. We need to get that guy a camera. That's the best view right there from an O-lineman perspective. It's that high end zone.
I think it's some good TV up there.
I love the high end zone. It's a great camera angle. It's all I ever watched.
Dresser Wynn passing on first down. The screen, Terry Williams, but well read. He breaks a tackle, and Williams spinning around, still on his feet before he's tackled at the 23. And Mizzou fortunate that Khalil Oliver got him by the ankles to bring him down because he was refusing to go down.
Terry Williams is going to make some plays this year for the Skyhawks. There's no doubt. That guy is lightning in the bottle anytime he touches the football. I know defensive coordinator Ryan Walters will be extremely frustrated to see that. We talked about one thing in the open is improving in tackling. Been pretty solid so far, but that was not a very good exhibition in tackling right there.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, unnecessary rough number 78 on the offense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That's on tackle Austin Newsome. It's still going to be a first down, but that's really going to eat into what was going to be a 13-yard gain for Terry Williams.
Yeah, sometimes you get a little overzealous there. I'm always going to take it easy on the other line. I'm never going to.
We're going to break you of that habit.
It was probably was a bad call. I didn't even see it, but it was probably a bad call.
We're going to break you of that habit as we move along.
They penalize, O-linemen all the time for extra effort, energy, trying to finish a play, going to throw a flag, so we don't hurt the defender's feelings. Very common in the game these days.
So it's 1st and 10 from the 11. Dresser wins pass, and guess who? They'll right back out to Terry Williams. That time dropped at the 12. A minimal gain by DeMarcus Acey. Glad to have you with us. I'm Mark Neely, along with former Alabama and St. Louis Ram offensive lineman Barrett Jones. Alex Cordery down on the field. A hot Saturday for the opener of the season for Mizzou and UTM. And Chase throws, slings it towards the sideline, and a ball that Jordan Elliott is using some good coverage to pressure Wynn. Incompletion.
Yeah. I've been very impressed with Jordan Elliott so far. A Texas transfer. See him avoiding the cut block right there. He's a guy the coaches talked about, really wanted to see somebody else in that interior defensive line other than Terry Beckner stepping up and making meaningful plays. And so far in this football game, we've seen a tackle for a loss and an early pressure right there by Jordan Elliott. We know he's a talented guy, high recruit out of high school. Didn't work out at Texas, but so far is really having a solid game here under Barry Odom and Mizzou.
This is the first time Dresser Wynn's been hit. Devontae Howard to the 21, right near the first down marker. Brandon Lee on the coverage and the tackle for Mizzou. 8-yard gain.
Tough to hit a guy, Mark, when he's getting the ball out of his hands. And about 0.8 seconds every time. A lot of these quick screens, quick hitting plays. It can be frustrating for a defensive line, too, when quarterback's getting the ball out of his hands very quickly. A lot of times kind of get the mentality of why even rush if he's going to get the ball out of his hands. But Mizzou's got to do a nice job of keeping their foot on the pedal and trying to get pressure on the quarterback.
They gained 8 on 3rd and 9, so it's 4th and 1. Bring out the punting unit. UTM would like it measured.
From our vantage point here, Mark, it's not going to be a very close measurement. It looks like he's almost
length of a football short.
At least a half yard short here. Famous last words, I guess. Got nervous there for a second.
Yeah, it's about maybe half of a football length short. Yeah, football length short.
It's kind of doubting Jason Simpson there for a second. Good move to measure that football. I wonder if that was probably a lot of times the coaching ploy. Try to give him a little more time to think about if he might have a play in the playbook that he felt confident in picking up a half yard, but looks like he's going to keep the punting unit out on the field.
Zane Cox to punt. We've seen Zane Cox as well as Joseph Foley punting for UT Martin today. Jonathan Johnson standing at the Mizzou 35.
Good to see Jonathan Johnson back on the field after some early cramps.
and Johnson's going to let it roll. And it'll be down at the 31. It's a pretty good punt that time from Zane Cox, 47 yards. Well, Mizzou's been finding the end zone.
They have. Drew Lock's been extremely very efficient so far. They've been efficient on the ground and in the air, but I really like the way Drew Lock has thrown the deep ball so far. 3 for 4 for 127 yards. All 3 of those passes go into one guy, Emmanuel Hall. And then the defense, forcing on some turnovers here, finding a way to get their hands on the football. A point of emphasis for these guys coming into this football game. So far, Missouri been very clean on both sides of the football. Well, except for one drive. Here's one of those deep balls we talked about to Emmanuel Hall. Nice back shoulder throw there for an early touchdown. Lock's been extremely sharp so far.
And here's Drew Lock running. Yeah, I think that's the same comment a lot of Mizzou fans were thinking. Oh, okay. Antonio Clifton with the tackle, a 5-yard rush for Drew Lock.
Did have 44 carries last year, but only 111 yards. Not really known as a guy who's extremely nimble, can pick up yards when he needs to.
First time he has run the ball today. Now from the empty backfield, Drew Lock on a 2nd down and 5 finds Johnson. He stopped for a minimal gain up to the 45. He does pick up 3. After a gain of 8, and that is a first down.
Yeah, early in the game, it seemed like Missouri really wanted to establish their run, get their backs going. Now we're seeing a bunch of receivers on the field. But
Nate Brown this time on the near side, right near midfield.
This is the way those games go. This is not by coincidence. You see something like this from offensive coordinator Derek Dooley. You know, you want to see all the different things your offense can do early on. Seeing a lot of pro sets and even some 2 tight end sets. Now we're seeing empty and 1 back with 4 receivers on the field. Kind of an opportunity to spread them out. You want to kind of get your guys in different situations, particularly when you're playing maybe against a lower quality opponent. You want to get different looks versus different offenses.
2nd and 5 finds Nate Brown once again for a first down to the 42-yard line of UTM, an 8-yard gain.
That's good for a first down.
Mizzou has never lost to an FCS team. They're 17-0 against the FCS. Lock hands off to Crockett. Crockett had the first score of the game, a 9-yard touchdown run. Rambles for 5 yards there.
Yeah, this offense looks more like what we saw last year from Drew Lock under Josh Heupel, kind of the spread, 1 back, very few tight ends, showing that we can do it all. Missouri's got all the looks. We asked Derek Dooley what his offense would look like. He said multiple looks.
Crockett inside the 35 to the 34. Right there by Andrew Horton Martindale.
Third and 3 here. 35
for Missouri.
3rd and 2. They're 5 of 6 on 3rd down today. And they get a free play after UTM jumped offside, taking a shot, and Nate Brown is thrown down by Andrew Horton Martindale. So there'll be a couple of penalties to sort out there, both benefiting the Tigers.
Yeah, it's something that kind of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady patented. It's really made its way collegiately. As you see the hard count, you know, the old days of the hard count, you kind of would just take the 5 yards and move on. But kind of the new trend in football. So we'll see this call here down on the field from referee Hubert Owens.
Defense, penalty is declined. Pass interference, defense, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Yeah, the new trend is, you know, you give the center the ability to snap the football. As soon as he sees one of those guys jump offside, he snaps the football. And the receivers are told, no matter what the play call is, you run a go route. Run a go route, run down the field, and if you're Drew Lock, you take a shot. You see right here the go routes. Got kind of a certain play. It's something you practice a lot. Doesn't just happen.
Crockett pulled down just outside the 10. James Gillian. Penalties against UTM for 63 yards.
Cannot do that if you're a less talented team coming into a hostile environment trying to get a win. Can't shoot yourself in the foot for 8 penalties in a game.
2nd and short, 2nd and 1. Roundtree's in as the back. A couple of receivers up top. One down low, that being Jalen Knox. Looking at Knox's direction. Incomplete. Jalen Smith, quarterback with the coverage for UTM.
That was a run-pass option there for Drew Lock. I've already seen several of those in this game where they give Drew Lock the option to hand it off or throw it. He sees a one-on-one matchup he likes. He's liable to take it down and throw it and give his guy a chance to make a play. That's what he did right there, unfortunately. Just over the outstretched arms of Jalen Knox. That's something we'll see a lot this season from Mizzou. Those run-pass options.
The 3rd and 1, Roundtree will have the first down. It'll be first and goal Mizzou at the 6.
There you see the challenge right there of this multiple offense that can present to a defense. A few plays ago, we saw an empty formation, and now we have 3 tight ends on the field. I think that's what Derek Dooley brings to this offense, is those multiple looks, able to line up under center and short yardage, pound it out for a yard behind that big offensive line. And here we go again with 3 tight ends.
And here comes Roundtree again, but he is wrapped up. Minimal gain by Kevin Prather at the 10th play of his drive. You mentioned Derek Dooley and his first season as the Mizzou offensive coordinator, a guy who's been a head coach in the SEC at Tennessee, but it's the first time he's been an offensive coordinator, which is a bit unusual.
Yeah, we asked Derek Dooley, we said, why leave the NFL and come back and try to be a coordinator? And I think he just wanted a challenge. He wanted a challenge of a chance to come back and be a coordinator and have success.
Lock throws towards the end zone. Hanging on. Did he get it down in time? Jonathan Johnson, touchdown Mizzou. I think he's feeling better.
There's no doubt. A great job by Locke right there, identifying the coverage. You saw man coverage, kind of a little smash concept, a very common concept, especially in the red area where the outside receiver runs kind of a stop route. And you have the inside receiver run a corner route, and you tell the quarterback to throw it up to that back pylon. A fantastic throw by Drew Lock right there.
And his 3rd touchdown pass of this first half. The Tigers have scored on every possession, all but one of the possessions, touchdowns, and 1 field goal for Tucker McCann, who's on for the PAT here. Makes it 38-7 with 2:43 to play in the first half.
Yeah, we talked about this smash concept right here, a very common concept in the red area where the outside receiver runs that, and you have the inside receiver running a little quarter route, especially against man-to-man. A very tough thing to cover in the red area. Nice job by Drew Lock, seeing the coverage, throwing it to that back pylon. He threw it a little bit behind him. Good enough for a touchdown. You see Drew Lock got the ball to his hands, immediately knew he was going to go with the football. You know, that's something, obviously, as a quarterback, you want to be open to throwing other places, but sometimes you see something in coverage that's just too good to pass up. You know where you're going with the ball immediately, and that's kind of a timing route. Quarterbacks and receivers practice hundreds and hundreds of times, but you throw that ball a lot of times before that receiver even gets out of his break. Kind of throw it towards that pylon, and it was beautifully executed right there by Lock and Johnson for another score.
So a 38-7 lead for Mizzou. Just over 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Terry Williams and Peyton Logan back to receive this kick for UTM. Logan takes the knee. Hey, make sure you join Marty Smith and Ryan McGee right here on the SEC Network every Thursday, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, starting this coming week. Marty and McGee. And it also streams live on the ESPN app.
I cannot believe they gave those 2 guys a show right there. Those guys are absolute characters. I've gotten a chance to spend some time with both of those guys, but particularly Marty spends a lot of time down at Alabama, and he's a lot of fun. He's a character, that's for sure.
Those guys were fun at the SEC coaches meeting, the coaches day.
They were.
They got them all together.
Yep.
Fun to watch that show. Plays stopped right at the snap. The referee today, Hubert Owens.
Number 3, 5-yard penalty, first down.
First time we've seen that, and is what they're doing in college football this year to help kind of speed up the game times is as soon as the point after goes through the uprights, the play clock starts.
Right. Yeah, and Jason Simpson, I know, will be extremely frustrated with his team. Already 9 penalties in this first half, and he'll tell them that has nothing to do with your opponent. You got to go out there and execute cleanly. Can't have 9 penalties in a half of any football game.
Option to Ladarius Galloway. Able to get back to the original line of scrimmage prior to that 5-yard penalty. Second down and 10. Good hands off. Galloway straight ahead to the 32-yard line. Brought down by Terez Hall.
We talked a lot about Galloway in the open. They've done a really nice job so far, bottling him up, keeping him contained. And again, that Missouri front seven takes a lot of pride in stopping him up.
Takes the handoff to Galloway. Wynn being pursued and throws it out of bounds. Garrett getting after Wynn.
Yeah, nice job right there by Cale Garrett. Kind of came on a delayed blitz. Very effective thing. A lot of middle linebackers do. Got a little pressure on Dresser Wynn to force an incompletion and set up another punt for the Skyhawks. A great job so far by this Missouri defense. Has been extremely clean so far, other than really that one drive where they had kind of some mental lapses, allowed a 4th down conversion. But other than that, it's been a very clean day.
Mizzou knew that Ladarius Galloway ran for 188 yards last year at Ole Miss. He has 4 carries for 16 yards today. That's it back inside the Mizzou 20 to receive this punt. And another delay of game.
49, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Penalties now 73 yards.
Another penalty
against UTM in this first half.
Got to work out the kinks first week of the season. See a lot of those careless penalties, but haven't seen many for Mizzou.
Johnson from the 29 and hit, bounce back, staying on his feet. On a reverse course, still giving ground. This isn't going in the right direction for Mizzou and Johnson. He's tackled at the 14. Hey, coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of Marching Mizzou on SEC Network Plus. You can start streaming now on the ESPN app.
Already seen several people down on the field who, cameramen and all kind of people, kind of getting carted away from heat. You know, some of those tuba players carrying those big tubas, hopefully they're well hydrated for their performance.
Going with the shorts today. That's a good call.
That's a big
Marching
move
Mizzou.
Right there. Good move by the coordinator. All kind of guys cramping out here on the field today.
Khalil Oliver and coming off on special teams.
Yeah, we talked about it. You know, as hard as you train in the off season, it's tough to simulate on your body that game speed and what it's like to be in a football game. You know, a football game is so unique physically when you think about over a 3-hour span, sometimes 3.5 hour starting and stopping and having to be able to output so much energy in short little spurts. It's a very odd thing for your body, and it takes a while to get in condition, particularly in these early hot games.
Block underneath, Roundtree. And tackled at 10 at the 12-yard line, and that's going to lose 4 or 5 yards. Joseph Murray, nose tackle with stop there, and there's a UTM player down.
I tried to set up a little middle screen there. I think Coach Dooley might follow that one in the back of the playbook there.
That's James Gillian, a 5th-year senior linebacker from UT Martin. They do not want to see him have issues. He's such a valuable player, led their team with 88 tackles last year. 4-year starter. You saw him last year in their game at Ole Miss. He played well in that, had a sack.
Yeah, we talked about in the open, the key to this 3-3-5 defense is that linebacking core. Those guys have to be able to play a lot of different spots and kind of be all over the field, give you some odd looks, and have to really understand what they're doing. This guy's really the heart of this defense. 88 tackles last season. Just hope he's okay.
Last play, take a look. Kind of late.
Not sure what that was there. Never want to speculate.
Heat index right near 100 degrees, and that doesn't include on the field, on the artificial turf here. Good to see Gillian get to his feet. Hoping it's just a cramping issue. Yeah, he's looking better walking off the field.
I'll tell you what, the busiest people in the stadium, other than maybe the concession workers at halftime, are going to be the paramedics. Those are the guys who administer the IVs normally, and I guarantee you they are queuing up those saline bags right now. There are going to be several guys receiving some injections at halftime of saline to try to bolster those fluids in there, because it is hot out here on the field. It's a little hot in our booth.
115 degrees on the field right now.
That's right.
The last play, a negative play for Mizzou, their third negative play of the half of 45 total plays. And a run for Roundtree. Gets a little breathing room for the Tigers across the 20 to the 22 before he's tripped up by Porter Streeter.
Roundtree, a guy who was thrust into action last year after Demaria Crockett went down. Had a really nice season, 700 yards. I've been very impressed with them so far, both in the run game and catching the football. I think, to me, looks like a guy who will catch a lot of balls this year out of the backfield as well. I'm impressed with these Missouri running backs so far today.
Back into the hands of the running back, Demaria Crockett. Couple of yards. Gillian's back in the game, number 50, and he made the tackle there. Good to see him there for UTM.
So that will probably take us to halftime here.
Final seconds winding down. Mizzou doesn't appear to be interested in running another play. They will get the football to start the second half, the Tigers will, as they won the opening toss in the third. And pretty good first half for Drew Lock.
Absolutely. Be interesting to see just how long they leave Drew Lock in the game there, as you see Emmanuel Hall's numbers. 42 yards a catch. That's getting it done right there. That's using that SEC speed.
Yeah, the 7 touchdowns last year, but in the first half in the opener had 5 of his 7 touchdown passes. 3 TD passes in half number 1 today. Swung out. This is Crockett out of the backfield. Gets a nice block on the edge. And nice. This flag comes out as he's tackled at the 32.
Could get a holding call there on Big Alberto, but I think the Drew Lock's going to need the defense to give up a few touchdowns like last year if he wants to get to 7 touchdowns today. I don't foresee him staying in the game long enough to.
There's no foul for an illegal block in the back. Second down.
Kue Bunam not called for a penalty. So the play stands. That's a 7-yard gain, second down and 3.
That's what you talk about at halftime. You go in, you make some adjustments, you see what the defense is giving you, and you script a nice few plays here to see if you can go out here and execute. And, you know, the coaches are always hesitant to talk about it, but you do want your offense to come out here and execute so that you can get those 2s and 3s, a little running experience.
Just Crockett off right tackle. Going to be just short of the first down. Your point's a good one, though, Barrett, because you think back last year, the Tiger staff, I'm sure, hoped in the opener against Missouri State they could bring in the 2s and 3s to get some experience, but they couldn't because it was a shootout.
They give up 43 points. It's hard to bring in the backups.
They won 72-43, and if they're able to put up some points here in this third quarter, perhaps for the first time in a couple of seasons, because they weren't able to do it at any point last year, they get a chance to see those 2s and 3s, get some experience.
It's really hard to put a price tag on just how valuable those reps can be for 2s and 3s. I remember as a freshman getting some snaps there early in my freshman year, and really gave me some confidence going into my second year, kind of getting the feel of what SEC lights were like.
Well, the jet sweep to Jalen Knox is sniffed out by Andrew Horton Martindale in a loss of 6.
A lot of teams you see run that jet sweep action. Every once in a while, you got to give it to the jet sweep, man. Keep them honest. Not that time.
Yeah, from the empty backfield. Lots of time for Locke. Taking a shot across the middle, and a leaping catch is brought down by Cam Scott. And on his first collegiate catch, the freshman goes to the end zone. Touchdown, Mizzou. 70-yard touchdown reception. Mizzou had 4 true freshmen in the game at that snap, and one of them, Cam Scott, with a touchdown catch. It's touchdown pass number 4 today for Drew Lock.
Yeah. We talked about Drew Lock. Throws a great deep ball. Another big bomb from Drew Lock. Really throws that nice tight spiral. Very impressive so far. On deep balls today, 4 of 5, 197 yards and 3 touchdowns.
How would you like your first collegiate reception to be a 70-yard taking it to the house? Cam Scott's got one he will never forget.
From the tournament app to AI-powered highlights, the U.S. Open is powered by the IBM Cloud. The cloud for smarter business.
Are you a college football fan? Come check this out. Show me college football. It's never been easier to watch ESPN3 games right here on Xfinity X1.
Introducing ESPN3 on Xfinity X1.
The powerful backing of American Express. Don't live life without it.
It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies have the best coverage because of all these towers. But guess what? Straight Talk Wireless runs on the same 4G LTE networks for up to 30% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
I wish you weren't so worried about moving.
I'm hoping these nature sounds will help me relax a bit.
At least we don't have to worry about homeowners insurance. Just call Geico.
Good to know.
Get to know Geico for homeowners insurance.
Oh, this is the night. It's a beautiful night. Look at the skies. They have stars in their eyes. The night will weave its magic spell when the one you love is near. Oh, this is the night on this lovely Bella Notte.
Okay, so let's take another look here at that touchdown pass by Drew Lock. A very common play, 4 verticals right here. This time right here, he runs out of 5 wide receivers. You got 4 verticals and 1 underneath route, and it really stresses those 2 safeties right there. Makes them make a decision. A great identification by Drew Lock, finds his open man for a 70-yard touchdown by number 13, Cam Scott. Again, his first catch of his career turns into a 70-yard touchdown pass. A very unique formation. A nice throw and catch there by Drew and Lock.
Terry Williams from the 1 takes it across the 20 to the 24. Really like Cam Scott's size. He's 6'2", and the speed, and we saw both on display there with his first collegiate catch.
I can imagine Cam Scott will probably be getting some kind of memorabilia there for his shelf. First catch goes for a 70-yard touchdown. That's a pretty nice one to have there. Pretty good memory. A lot more catches to come based on the way the coaching staff were talking about this young freshman.
That's really kind of been the other story besides Drew Lock from Mizzou is the freshman receiver. Obviously, Hall's had a big day of veteran, but we're seeing guys like Cam Scott step up. Also, Jalen Knox getting some opportunities, and Tyler Beatty at that running back spot. This is Galloway coming near side. He's going to be stepping out at about the 25.
Coach Odom talked about how much he liked this freshman class. He was excited about a lot of these guys. Probably the position he was most excited about was wide receiver, obviously, with Cam Scott, guys like Jalen Knox and Dominic Jacinto. They've got some firepower in years to come. It really can't, again, put a price tag on how valuable this experience is for some of these young guys. Not a whole lot of depth at the wide receiver position as far as experience goes. Good to get these guys some reps early on in the season.
Cale Garrett brings down Ladarius Galloway after a 6-yard gain. Ladarius Galloway has not been the factor today so far that he was in their game at Ole Miss a year ago. 5 of 22 for Galloway. 22 yards rushing. It's going to be a first down. It's just enough for Galloway up to the 35.
I expect that to be the strength of this defense all season. I really like what I've seen from this front seven. This is going to be a much improved unit this season under Ryan Walters. Much more continuity. Again, Barry Odom kind of handing the reins off to his young 32-year-old defensive coordinator Ryan Walters and letting him run the show. And so far, I've liked what I've seen. And it's not just the effectiveness. I've liked the execution. That's what I'm looking for in these early games, is how well these guys are executing. And so far, they've executed at a high level.
There is Ryan Walters. He was a safety in Colorado in his collegiate days. And the Mizzou defensive coordinator, let's face it, the last really couple of seasons, the secondary's been an issue. And he says, hey, this year, the secondary will be improved.
He did. If you're a football junkie, mark this guy's name down, because I have a feeling you're going to be seeing this guy in some high-profile jobs. He's only 32 years old. I have a feeling he's going places, whether that's a big coordinator job in a few years or possibly a head coaching job somewhere down the road. I really like this guy. I think he's a great young mind. You know, coaches love great young minds, right? Everybody wants to hire a good young guy. A lot of energy in recruiting. You know, players love playing for young coaches, right? I mean, they love playing for a guy that they can respect, who understands the things they've gone through, particularly a guy who played the game at a high level himself. So the players respond to people like that. Coaching staffs are always looking for people like that.
Gets a win on 3rd and 5, pulls it back down. Everybody covered, and Terez Hall drops him for a loss of a couple of yards.
There's Terez Hall. We talked about him in the first quarter. Haven't called his name too much since, but I think he's maybe outside of Terry Beckner, one of the most talented players on this roster, and should be a leader this year for the Tigers.
First Mizzou sack of the game goes to Terez Hall. Jonathan Johnson back to receive the punt for the Tigers. Fair catch at the 19 for Johnson.
Yeah, really nice play right here by a guy they're really high on. Number 7, Cam Hilton, a guy who got a lot of experience last year, comes in kind of the leader of this group. Senior back there in the backfield. Almost got himself a reception right there. Good job breaking that pass up.
A guy who played wide receiver as a true freshman at 15. That one's deflected by Nate Anderson. Toronto native, but he played his high school football. Nate Anderson did it Prattville, Alabama. You know, with all the time he spent down there, that's one of the elite high school programs.
I got some good high school football in Alabama. I came from a place where high school football wasn't quite as big of a deal, but Alabama takes really all their football pretty seriously, but high school is no exception. They got several TV shows. You know, got Hoover and all kind of different big schools down there in Alabama. Some intense football down there.
3rd and 10 for UTM. Dresser win. Chased down again, able to escape for now. Lets it go downfield, waiting on it, having to adjust. Incomplete at the Mizzou 40, but there was some contact. And that's going to go against the Tigers. Looking for Ladarius Galloway. And Terez Hall with some contact on Galloway.
Defense, number 24. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Yeah, you don't often see Terez Hall, a linebacker, wind up 40 yards downfield. Obviously, probably covering the running back out of the backfield here. Good job by Terez Hall, ranging all the way down there. But, you know, what a referee is looking for right here is you got to turn your head. You got to find a way to get that head around. Terez Hall actually in pretty good position. Got to just find that football. Anytime you run into a guy like that, it's an easy call for the official.
Win hands off to Bo, who gives it. Terry Williams. The end around will get to the edge, but he pushed out about the 47-yard line by Terez Hall. To the studio again in Dari. some who really like West Virginia in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, a lot of people have picked West Virginia to possibly win the Big 12. A lot of people think the Big 12 is pretty wide open this year. Kind of a mystery of what we're going to see exactly out of Oklahoma. A lot of the key players for that football team kind of been replaced, but still a lot of talent over there. I still probably like Oklahoma in the Big 12. Kyler Murray, a guy who's a really good athlete. Excited to watch him play. I know they put up some big video game numbers today against what some people thought might be a competitive game against Florida Atlantic and the Fighting Lane Kiffins, but it did not work out that way.
Here's a pitch to Jamie Bowe. Inside up to the 47-yard line, tackled by Cale Garrett. Just over 5 minutes left here in this third quarter. Jamie Bowe comes out, brings Galloway into the backfield for UTM. Wynn. Jump out of bounds right near the marker at midfield.
That's one of the most frustrating things a quarterback can do for an offensive lineman.
Because that's a sack, right?
Is run out of bounds for a three-yard loss. I mean, they will hear about that one in the meeting room. All you got to do is just throw the ball 3 yards down the field across the line of scrimmage. Goes down as incompletion. But no, quarterbacks, they don't like throwing incompletion, so they just run out of bounds for losses, make their O-line look bad. So the big uglies right there will not appreciate that in the meeting room on Monday when they see the stats.
Sophomore Dresser Wynn is a player that UTM is looking forward to having a big contribution for them this year, especially in conference play. And he finds wide open Ladarius Galloway down the sideline. A foot race to the end zone. Touchdown, Skyhawks. And Dresser Wynn says, hey, big uglies, thanks for the protection. Take that.
Yeah, the big uglies might be a little more apt to forgive him right there. I talked earlier about how clean the Mizzou defense had been so far. That was just a total blown assignment by Ryan Walters' defense right there. Nobody covered the back out of the backfield.
51-yard touchdown pass, Dresser Wynn to Ladarius Galloway. So Galloway, who had a touchdown last year at Ole Miss, now has a touchdown catch here at Mizzou. The point after is up and through. 48-14 UTM. Finding Galloway down the sideline and the end zone for the Skyhawks.
It's game night at the Heisman House.
Bo dominates any game he plays.
Checkmate. Mahjong. I claim the kingdom.
Are you a college football fan? Come check this out. Show me college football. It's never been easier to watch ESPN3 games right here on Xfinity X1.
Introducing ESPN3 on Xfinity X1.
Look at this last touchdown right here from Missouri. Got simple man-to-man coverage, a route we see a lot of times. Somebody's got to cover the back out of the backfield. We talked all day about how clean Missouri has been assignment-wise. Right here we got a freshman, number 32, Nick Bolton, probably responsible for this back coming out of the backfield. Nobody picks him up. An easy touchdown for Ladarius Galloway. This is the kind of kinks you got to work out in the first week of the season. Somebody's got to cover the back out of the backfield. That's a theme that you hear all the time from defensive coordinators, and you draw up all these fancy blitzes and coverages. But you always got to be wary of that guy standing right in the backfield. Right there, a total blown coverage that cost Missouri 6 points.
Nick Bolton, though, is a true freshman that was a huge surprise to the upside in fall camp for Missouri. A guy who initially verbaled to Washington in a couple of days before signing day, switched to Mizzou, and he had a tremendous camp from all indications.
Yeah, the coaches actually raved about this guy. I think he has tremendous upside. I hate that his first exposure has to be me picking on him. I wasn't trying to pick. If you're Nick Bolton's parents, I apologize, but that was a tough first play. But you know what? A lot of good days ahead for Nick Bolton.
Hand off to Tyler Beatty. Yard and a half for Beatty. Anthony Brown, defensive end, with the tackle. Here's Bolton, like 6 feet, 235 pounds, out of Lone Star High School in the Dallas area, Frisco, Texas. And yeah, that may have perhaps been one blown aside, but that's a guy who's going to be a big contributor for Mizzou throughout the years.
Perhaps, and you know, we don't know for sure, but I tell you what, thinking about it, let's just assume that was Nick Bolton. You see a flag down here on the field. It's like a false start.
That's on Christopherson, the tight end.
False start. Offense, number 88, 5-yard penalty, second down.
And let me tell you why this time is so valuable for those young guys is plays exactly like that right there. And I know, obviously, Nick Bolton, perhaps if it was his man, gave up a touchdown there, but I guarantee you that Nick Bolton will never forget that play, and he'll never forget that, you know what, I have this guy out of the backfield. He'll understand the ramifications, because in practice, when something like that happens, you think, oh, well. But in a game, when you give up 6 points, it kind of creates a memory in your head, and you're much less likely to make that mistake again. It's so valuable for these young guys to get that. And I look here on the field, I think I see 4 different true freshmen in the football game. It's so valuable for these guys to get those reps.
And again, this is something Mizzou didn't get the opportunity to do last year. The game, perhaps they thought they were going to get that chance, was the opener against Missouri State a year ago, but they did not in a shootout that they won 72-43. Powell going to take off with it and slide down at the 33-yard line. He's tapped by Tyree Bryant. 5-yard run for Taylor Powell. But it'll be 4th down and Mizzou to punt. And for the first time today, we see Corey Fatoni, the first-string punter for Mizzou. Mizzou only allowed 11 punt returns all of last year, and a big reason for that was Corey Fatoni. Oh, snap. Tony gets the punt away. The fair catch called for, but it lands. And it bounced into the arms of Ben Phillips.
Oh. Heads up play there by Ben Phillips, grabbing that football.
Let's go down below and check in with Alex Cordry.
All right, Mark Barrett, well, part of Missouri's Heisman campaign for Drew Lock was a Drew Lock bobblehead, looking good, huh? So Lock was asked about the resemblance to him. He said, well, I have blue eyes, not brown. And he did say that he doesn't show as much forehead, but he did give it his stamp of approval. So everybody loves a good bobblehead, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, just being bobbled, so to speak, as a bobblehead is
an
a big
honor.
deal. Yeah.
I see the resemblance. I mean, look at the, you got to give him one. Got some nice white choppers right there. Working those crest white strips. I like that.
Here's Dresser Wynn.
That'll help your Heisman campaign.
Tackled at the 33. He's going to lose a couple of yards there. What do you think?
What do you think? Tweet us and tell us what you think about the resemblance of Drew Lock and his bobblehead. I mean, it's a good-looking bobblehead. I mean, it's the thing is, if somebody makes a bobblehead of it, you want it to be a good-looking bobblehead. That's a good-looking bobblehead right there. I'd be honored to have that bobblehead.
By the way, Jacob Trump there defensively for Mizzou on that last play, guy who's the nephew of head coach Barry Odom. That pass incomplete at the Tigers' 40. Joshua Bledsoe on the coverage for the Tigers. It's obviously too early, Barrett, to be talking about the Heisman Trophy, but coming into a season, you can look at players like Drew Lock who have the physical ability and the track record where you say, hey, yeah, you know, it wouldn't be a shocker if somebody like Drew Lock was in the Heisman talk and perhaps won it.
No, I agree. You know, I think in order for him to make real noise in the Heisman conversation, he's probably going to either have to beat or just have an outstanding game against a team like Alabama or Georgia. You know, really, the Heisman Trophy is not won against teams like UT Martin. It's won in those big marquee games. And to Missouri's credit, they have a lot of those games coming up. Look at teams like you mentioned, Alabama and Georgia and Tennessee and Florida. And there'll be a lot of opportunities for Drew Lock to state his case on national television. So I think we'll have an opportunity. And you know, another interesting stat, I think if you want a guy on your team to win the Heisman Trophy, generally you got to win at least 10 games. You know, you got to be in the conversation. I think the only guy who's won the Heisman Trophy in the last few years without winning 10 games was Lamar Jackson. They won 9. So you got to kind of be in the national conversation. And Missouri has a good enough team to be in that conversation if they play up to what they're capable of.
Dominic Jacinto, true freshman, with a 1-yard punt return. So back comes the Mizzou offense onto the field. Now the Tigers, 3 weeks from today, will be hosting Georgia. And there are a couple of games in between. They host Wyoming here next Saturday night on ESPN2. Then they're at Purdue. Then at Georgia 3 weeks from today. And Will Kiper's top 5 right now heading into this collegiate season. Drew Lock at the top of his board for draft-eligible quarterbacks. Dawson Downey now in as the back for the Tigers. He gets the carry. Just across the 25-yard line. Gain of 4.
Yeah, see Drew Lock there at the top of that list. Again, we talked about it in the opener. Wouldn't shock anyone, I think, around this program or who follows this team nationally if Drew Lock's had an outstanding season, number 1, and number 2. That season resulted in his name being called number 1 overall. There's always a team out there that needs a quarterback. You can never have too many good quarterbacks, and Drew Lock has a lot of characteristics that fit the mold of a great NFL quarterback. So we see a pass interference, probably saved a touchdown right here. Let's take a look at the schedule of Missouri. The thing that jumps off the page to me is these road games. At Purdue, a huge swing game in their schedule, at South Carolina, at Alabama, at Florida, at Tennessee. So if Missouri wants to make waves in the national conversation and have a chance for Drew Lock to win the Heisman, they're going to have to not only win some big games, but win some big games away from home. That week 3 game at Purdue, they got embarrassed by Purdue last year, 35-3 at home. And if they really want to be the team they think they're able to be this year, that's a big game on their schedule, kind of an early swing game that will determine really what this team is made of. Jeff Brom's done a fantastic job with that Purdue team of getting that program turned around.
Dropped their opener at home to Northwestern the other night, but that'll definitely be a key game for the Tigers in a couple of weeks in West Lafayette. Remember last year, they beat all the teams with losing records, lost all the teams with winning records.
And don't forget this stat right here, that 18 points per game and 54 points. How about that for a differential? And that's exactly what Derek Dooley was brought in here to help with, is to get more consistency in this offense. So even though they've looked sharp today, really the true test of this offense and Derek Dooley and how this whole thing is working was not going to come today. They've always been successful against subpar opponents. You know, the test might come 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks when they really get into the meat of that schedule and play against some quality opponents.
25 seconds left in the third quarter. No Mizzou turnovers to this point in the game, which is another thing that obviously Barry Odom and all head coaches keep a close eye on. This pass going for Brown, and he fights for it. Comes away with it. There's a flag down, but
it's offsides. It's a great catch right there by Brown. Exactly what we talked about previously with Drew Lock. A great job by the center, keeping his eye on the left defensive end, snapping the ball again.
Defense number 97.
Jalen Knox here on the catch.
Result of the play is the first down.
Again, what do you do when you're a quarterback and receiver and you see an offsides? You throw a go route. Great job. Again, that's something that's practiced over and over. Every time in practice, there's a player offside. You practice running those go routes, and just tossing up some jump balls, obviously knowing that an interception's not going to hurt you when you already have an offsides penalty. So a great job right there of execution.
And that's going to take us to the end of the third quarter. Drew Lock's day finished after the first possession of this third quarter. And the Tigers marching again. We'll head to the fourth quarter. This opening weekend in Columbia. Another good day for Drew Lock. And right now at the end of 3, Mizzou 48 and UTM 14.
M-I-Z, C-L-U, M-I-Z, C-L-U. Hooray! Hooray! Mizzou! Mizzou! Hooray! Hooray! Mizzou! 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 Mizzou!
It's game night at the Heisman House.
Bo dominates any game he plays.
Checkmate. Mahjong. I claim the kingdom.
Cup of lemonade. Time to pack up, kids.
NFL Sunday Ticket. Get every live game every Sunday at no extra charge when you switch to DirecTV. More for your thing. That's our thing.
We're more than just $7.99 large 2-topping pizza delivered.
Hey, B, is this it?
We're an end zone dance at your doorstep. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Are you a college football fan? Come check this out. Show me college football. It's never been easier to watch ESPN3 games right here on Xfinity X1.
Introducing ESPN3 on Xfinity X1.
Welcome to Pilot. Oh.
Hi, it's pretty bad.
We've got clean restrooms right over there. And showers, too. That's totally just an FYI.
We headed to the fourth quarter from Faurot Field in Columbia. Mizzou leading UT Martin 48-14. The Tigers begin the fourth quarter with a first down from the 21-yard line. Here's the pass by Taylor Powell to the end zone and incomplete for Jalen Knox. Covered by Andrew Horton Martindale. Knox, 6 feet tall, 195 pounds. True freshman, had a bunch of offers, Big Ten, Pac-12, Big 12. Play the SEC. How about this 40 time? 4.51.
Yeah, kid, the coaches were raving about it. Again, keep in mind, this kid's a backup, right? And when you're a receiver and you're on the 2 deep, you're probably getting a lot of run during the season. So these are some valuable reps for him to be able to get here in this football game and get some experience out in the perimeter.
Dawson Downing, the redshirt sophomore tailback for the Tigers. Carey, a guy who came to the program as a walk-on, was just recently put on scholarship. This big game last year was against UConn, had 10 carries, 10 of the 20 carries he had for the season.
It's a pretty cool tradition in college football, I think, that's kind of come in vogue lately here, the scholarship, handing out the scholarships and the team meeting. I think those are always some neat videos to get to watch and just to understand how much it means to those guys after a lot of years of hard work to finally get put on scholarship.
Parents don't mind it either.
I bet they don't. I bet they don't.
Jacinto catch brought down by T.J. Jefferson. Coming up 7:30 Eastern tonight, 6:30 Central on the SEC Network. College football continues. Charleston Southern taking on the Gators. The Mullen debut go. SEC Saturday night matchup. Also on the SEC Network alternate channel. Middle Tennessee taking on Vandy. You can also see all that streaming live on the ESPN app. So Sean Ketting, the redshirt freshman, an opportunity with this field goal attempt here of 33 yards off the left hash. Ketting splits the uprights. That's good. 33-yard attempt good for the redshirt freshman Sean Ketting, and it's 51-14.
It's game night at the Heisman House.
Bo dominates any game he plays.
Checkmate. Mahjong. I claim the kingdom.
Cup of lemonade. Time to pack up, kids.
NFL Sunday Ticket. Get every live game every Sunday at no extra charge when you switch to DirecTV. More for your thing. That's our thing.
We're more than just $7.99 large two-topping pizza delivered. We're lining up in your favorite spot for the game. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Backyard camping. This is some good team bonding. We don't need a football stadium to bond. Where's Lisa?
Definitely not watching football.
She's watching football.
Hey, guys.
Lisa, how are you watching football?
PlayStation View. I can watch live football on my devices, even my phone, without a PlayStation console.
We should camp more often. Nature is amazing.
When your TD service gets better, camping gets better.
PlayStation.
Early fourth quarter from Columbia, Missouri. The Tigers up on Tennessee Martin, 51-14. UT Martin get the ball back. Sean Ketting, who kicked the 33-yard field goal for Mizzou, kicks off, and touchback coming out to the 25 for the Skyhawks. The head coach, Jason Simpson of UT Martin, a guy who played quarterback at Mississippi State when he was at Starkville, also played baseball for legendary coach Ron Polk at Mississippi State. Now, his son, Ty, now is rated by many the top dual-threat quarterback in his freshman class. He's a freshman starter on varsity for Westview High School. They've already played 3 games so far this season. And he has been recruited by a number of big-time schools, including a lot of SEC schools. So Jason Simpson's son, Ty Martin, Ty Simpson, that is a freshman at Westview. And the scholarship offers have been forthcoming, even though he is just a freshman. Here's a look at some of the offers, including from Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi State, South Carolina, the SEC. His class in 2022. We asked Coach Jason Simpson, are you recruiting your own son? And he said tongue-in-cheek, yeah, but I told him that he's uncoachable and he doesn't keep his room clean, so don't expect an offer.
Well, he'll have some good advice coming from Dad as far as what to look for in a program. And I know Barry Odom even mentioned to us that he's kind of hoping Ty might come to this game and get a little exposure to the Missouri program. So I think a lot of big-time schools, and I know a lot of SEC schools, will be looking at young Ty Simpson. Only a freshman, already pretty highly rated, a starter on varsity. Obviously, you can just imagine probably has some a leg up on the competition growing up with a coach at home. Probably heard a lot of ball at a young age, I would imagine. Thinks the game pretty well for a freshman. I don't even know the kid, but I'm just making some assumptions here based on the fact that his dad is a coach.
It was Peyton Logan who was down. Bacon Trump looked to have the tackle for the Tigers.
Peyton Logan seems to disagree. Does not think he was down.
Tavon Ross, UT involved when we come back.
Thousands of Hondas are on clearance from $169 a month during the Honda Summer Spectacular event. Or save thousands with financing as low as 0.9%. $169 a month or 0.9% this week at your local Honda dealer.
Life happens everywhere, like it never even happened. Only happens here. The cleanup and restoration specialists at 1-800-SERVPRO and ServPro.com.
We're more than just $7.99 large two-topping pizza delivered. We're lining up in your favorite spot for the game. No one outpaces the Hut.
You're headed down the highway when the guy in front slams on his brakes out of nowhere. You do too, but not in time. Hey, no big deal. You got a good record, and Liberty Mutual won't hold a grudge by raising your rates over one mistake. You hear that, Karen? Liberty Mutual doesn't hold grudges. How mature of them.
For drivers with accident forgiveness, Liberty Mutual won't raise their rates because of their first accident. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
We would like to offer you the position. You got the job.
Really?
We'll see you soon.
I gotta get some clothes. Hi, I'm Derek. Oh, is it Casual Friday? Sorry, guys. I think we can leverage this opportunity. Does anyone know the dial-in? Oh, thanks, sir. I like your pants, too.
Move to the enterprise-grade cloud that's built to handle all your apps. The IBM Cloud, the cloud for smarter business. The powerful backing of American Express. Don't live life without it.
It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies have the best coverage because of all these towers. But guess what? Straight Talk Wireless runs on the same 4G LTE networks for up to 30% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
For those who thirst for more, Coors Light is colder, cleaner, and crisper. To refresh you for what's next, Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer.
Wow. Did history repeat itself? That would be something else if App State can hang on. Here's a running play.
Peyton Logan for UTM. Nice run for him.
App State, if I'm an athletic director out there and I'm looking to schedule a non-conference game, I don't know if I'm scheduling App State. Yeah, I think guys are clear. That's some season wreckers. That's what those guys are.
Never had a chance to go to Boone, North Carolina? App State? Beautiful place.
It's not really on the way to anything.
No, when you get there, though, pretty nice spot.
Beaten path.
There's a handoff once again running right. Logan. By the way, that previous run by Logan of 15 yards was the longest run of the day for UTM.
Nice play right there by another freshman, Jadorian Hansford. Lost a lot of freshmen in the game today. Again, Barry Odom told us just how much he liked this freshman class, was excited about the energy, the talent they were bringing on campus. Cover was a little bit bare for a few years there, but Barry Odom's done a nice job of getting this program back on track, bringing in a really solid freshman class.
And the Tigers again last year, 1-5, then lost. They'd won their next 6, their last 6 regular season games. It's a bowl game for the first time in 3 years, lost to Texas, but nice finish for the 2. Can they build on that in 2018?
Yeah. I love watching Barry Odom right there. The next close, man. That's exactly that's an SEC coach for you. Coaching hard, no matter if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter. You got to coach these guys and make sure they're doing the right thing. He's not out there resting. He's watching these young guys, trying to figure out.
Lefty Joe Hudson's pass is incomplete. Back to the studio. Dari, what's going on? Man, oh man.
Wow. That's a team right there that has playoff aspirations. Make no doubt about it. They that would be. It's not over yet, obviously. Looking to tie it up with that extra point, but that's a huge football game. Keep an eye on it as it keeps going. On the first college football Saturday, nice to be back, isn't it, Mark?
It is. And happy opening week.